Zied Mhirsi is a medical doctor who has been active within IFMSA before becoming an expert in communication and advocacy, and he's currently a vice president at Global Health Strategies, and we work together on different advocacy and communication projects in the Middle East and North Africa region. He is based in the USA, and he's originally from my country, Tunisia. Zied, maybe you can give a few words about your background, so our members here from all over the world in the Junior Doctors Network get to know you.
Thank you, Balkiss, and thanks to the Junior Doctor Network for inviting me to join today. It's a great honor. Honestly, I've been hearing a lot about this network for many, many years now, and I'm very excited to see Balkiss taking a leadership role in sort of moving the advocacy forward for the organization. I have been part of IFMSA, but I didn't pursue my experience to go all the way to the Junior Doctor Network. So I'm very excited to see a lot of former IFMSA people also present today. After finishing medical school, I did public health, and I studied global health at the University of Washington in Seattle. And then after that, I embraced sort of the role of supporting global health systems across Africa, mainly in the Middle East, before joining Global Health Strategies 10 years ago to do what I used to do as a passion, which is advocacy, to do it professionally. And then I learned so much throughout that experience, and I've been now with Global Health Strategies for almost 10 years. And I'm very excited to be here today. I'll stop here, but please, thank you.
Thank you so much, Zied. Thank you for joining us during your vacation as well. It means a lot to us. And I invited Zied actually to this workshop because he's an expert in communications and advocacy. And our workshop today is exactly about that. It's the first session in a series of workshop, like in a series of capacity building workshops. And it will be basically around streamlining our newly updated communications guideline, which had new sections, including how to organize webinars and how to engage with external stakeholders, which will be our focus today. Adil, I sent you this is our agenda for today. If you can go to the fourth slide. Yeah, so after the welcoming words, I would like to present you the agenda of our workshop today, which we will start with an overview of our newly updated communication guidelines, and then go through the webinar conceptualization practical steps, and then to engaging with externals before and after webinars, and then open the floor for you guys to share your concerns, challenges, and discuss any ongoing projects you may have, as I know there are many working groups that are preparing for webinars in this period. So before we start, I'd like to invite you to scan this QR code, as we'll be using Mentimeter to showcase your expectations from this session. So what are you hoping to learn from this workshop? If you can please scan this QR code, it will lead you to the Mentimeter, and then we will see the word cloud of your answers. So what I'm reading here is, because I can't share my screen, I'm gonna read out loud. Strategic advocacy is an answer I got now. If for those who couldn't get into Mentimeter, you can also share on the chat box on Zoom. We're receiving new other answers: strategic advocacy, key stakeholders, effective practical tips, networking, communications. Okay, I'm checking the chat. Great. So moving on to the next question, Adil. Have you previously organized a webinar or an event of any other sort? If not virtual, it may be in person, just to have an overall view of your previous expertise in this domain. I see Abhishek saying yes. On the Mentimeter, I see 2 yeses. You can go to the next slide. So as I can see, there are not many people that have organized webinars, maybe 1/4 of the attendees, 1/4, I mean. So I think this is timely as a workshop. The next question is, what aspects of webinar organizations do you find most challenging for those who already organized a webinar and those who are going to or haven't even did it? So you can think about the challenges that you may face, and you can type into the Mentimeter or into the chat box. It can be conceptualization, speaker identification, promotion, gaining people attention, facilitation. So you name it. Just write down into the Mentimeter and I read out loud your responses. I don't see any responses so far. You need to go to the chat box if you can't open the Mentimeter. So I see audience engagement, so low participations these days. I see also Muha saying in large groups, ensuring meaningful engagement. What do you mean meaningful engagement, Muha? Mobilizing audience, team engagement in the preparation, I guess, saying by working group co-chair Christopher. So having more than one person organizing the webinar, having a whole team putting hands on deck to get things done. Totally. Audience engagement again, poor networking, engagement, usually language barrier and time zones. Totally. In JDN, this is one of the major challenges we have. And that's why we're trying to have some webinars in French, some others in Spanish. Time zones, we're trying to accommodate different time zones, including during our membership meeting calls. Okay, I think we had an overall view of what you have in mind as expectations. This helped us, me and Zied, understand the needs here in the group. And I'll go ahead with the presentation just to let you know what have been updated within the communication guideline that you might haven't checked. So I share the communication guideline link in the chat for those who didn't have the chance to check it. So you check it. It actually has different sections, including internal communications or general communication guidelines, ethics of communications, but most importantly, the 2 new sections we've added this year or in December, before sharing it with you this year, is the JDN representation on social media and social media guidelines in general, as well as how to organize webinars and engage externals, which we are trying to streamline today. So in this section, you have in detail webinar conceptualization steps, speakers, outreach tips, webinar promotion tips, as well as the technicalities of webinar execution, and most importantly, post-webinar engagements. I'll put the link in the chat now. Please take a look at this document, especially this last part that is of interest for us today. And going to the next slide, Adil, I'll give the floor to Zied to tell us about webinar conceptualization. I just put on the slide the screenshot of our guideline, which I shared with you on the chat, but this will be like a discussion between us and our expert Zied here. So Zied, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Balkiss. It's very interesting to see us talking about webinars today, and I think if I have to kind of like put things a little bit more in context, I came to kind of realize the importance of webinars, particularly during the Zoom boom, which happened during COVID, as you all may have guessed. I think at that time, you know, we realized quickly that that was pretty much the only way we had left to basically connect with people from around the world. But I think we grew to learn through that experience that webinars are not just events. They're strategic platforms for impact. That's how I think, I want to think about them, and that's how I perceive them. And I think we have a power in webinars that we do not even have in in-person meetings. Webinars in general, they amplify the voices of the underrepresented regions, which is an issue in global health, particularly when you know a lot about the visa walls that do exist surrounding the global north. The other issue is that the issues of budget, and I'm sure as a junior doctor network, it really it's an equity platform for all voices to be heard regardless of budget. It also, I think, has been a powerful tool of policy influence. I think it is for us an opportunity to kind of engage policy makers in a way that is kind of impossible to do in person. I think a lot of webinars, when they are conceptualized properly, when they are very attractive and have a catchy sort of hook, people tend to click, and a lot of powerful people end up in your webinar, where if you want to invite them in person, it would be a lot harder to convince them to show up. So I think in general, this is how I kind of want to put things in context. Now, when it comes to webinar conceptualization, I want to kind of expand a little bit on this idea of strategic platform, because if you want to kind of get the impact you're looking for, conceptualization is really key and the most important. It's the most important step, and it all starts with the why. Why are we doing this? What's our strategic intent, and what kind of impact we're looking for? You know, every good webinar begins with a problem we're trying to solve or an opportunity that we have to seize. So as we think about webinars, we usually think about the issue we're trying to elevate, the audience we're trying to attract, and then basically the change or impact we want to see post-webinar. So I think in general, that's the lens, the why. If you get the why right, then you can sort of move a little bit further in the way you do it. And that basically that goes to the second step in conceptualization, which is the audience. You have to come up with a very clear understanding of your target audience, because you're designing this webinar for them. So design it for them if you know your audience. Don't design something and hope the audience will catch it. You got to identify the audience and then design around their needs, their interests, and basically the best way to elevate the why that you have already sort of identified in the first step. So then once you kind of like do this, you're all pretty much in a very good place. Because if you know your audience, if you identified it, if you designed the webinar to fit their needs, if you have a proper why or a problem, an opportunity trying to seize, and basically you have to kind of now work on sort of the details that go into that. And one of the most important things is the title. So step 3, I would say, nail the title. Because if you don't have a strong title, you don't have a strong hook. The hook is what's going to allow people to click. And if the title is generic, hello, we're doing a panel on public health in Africa, or hi, we're trying to get young doctors together to discuss this and that, it's pretty generic. And I would recommend that you start working around a hook that really catches people's attention and get them to click to sign up. Because that's where you kind of start building a very strong cascade of clicking that's going to lead to attendance and engagement. So when you think about the title, you have to create a sense of urgency, a sense of relevance, and a very, very clear goal and a very clear explanation of what this webinar is about. Once you have a good title, it's always good to test it. Don't do it alone. And then if you have your initial first circle or selection of potential audience attendees sort of get interested, then you know you're on the right path. From there, I think you go and build a smart agenda. Usually you have to have a strong narrative. You set the scene, you present diverse voices, and then you leave room for engagement. I recommend not to overload webinars with speakers. 2, 3 quality voices are much better than 5. I think it's very important to kind of try to keep the time discipline as you design your agenda. You have to count for buffer time, for transitions, for Q&As. And I think that will help you schedule things properly and then keep your agenda and keep your run of show on time. I would always recommend you include a call to action at the end. Join our network, sign up for our newsletter, follow up by reading this and that, but it's very important that you have a call to action as part of your agenda. That will keep people engaged all the way to the end, and that will increase the impact of your webinars. As you design your speakers, I said 2 or 3 quality voices, yes, but please think about speaker mix and representation. It's very important that your speakers are authentic, that they are credible, and they are diverse. So if you're doing a webinar, I would say in the case of the Junior Doctor Network, you have to think of a clinician, a policymaker, and a young person. That would be the 3 people I would think about. I would think about diversity in geographies.
Did we lose Zied?
Yeah, I think his screen froze.
No, no worries. Till we get him back, I hope what he has been saying is very helpful. It actually illustrates in a good way what we have written in the guidelines I've shared with you. And this is an opportunity for all of us to interact with him. So please, if you have any comments, any questions, go ahead and say it out loud or write it in the chat. Within each section, we'll have an interactive part where you guys can directly put out your thoughts and your concerns and questions. So for this part on regarding the conceptualization, any thoughts or questions you have? I would be interested in hearing from those who are already planning webinars in the coming period, from working groups, for example. Is it something that you already do, what we're talking about?
I don't have any questions, but just a comment. I think this is quite insightful and quite detailed, which is really useful. I think planning how to plan is also important, and having an adequate timeline. So I'm just making notes for myself, actually. So this is very useful, I find.
Thanks so much, Moha. Zied, I think we lost you. Are you back?
I'm back through my phone. I think I'm having some internet issues, so I think I'll continue without video, if you don't mind.
It's okay.
Till the internet is back.
No worries. So I was just taking the time to tell our members that they can raise their hands with questions or comments. And Moha said it's very good to know, to plan, how to plan. You're on mute, Zied.
I'm not sure where I got disconnected, but if you can tell me where I stopped so I can keep up with that.
Yeah, so we were talking about the agenda, then the speakers and the diversity and the background of the speakers in terms of geographies, the last part you were saying.
That's perfect. So one thing I was thinking about when we do basically webinars at Global Health Strategies, we always, we never invite speakers based on their title. We always think about how will they connect with our audience. And I think we select them based on that priority, which is key for continuous engagement and a good recipe for a successful webinar. I would go next to the formats as you design your agenda. I would say not all webinars are panel. You should not be only thinking about one format of webinars. I think you already seen the use of Mentimeter, so interactive polls are good. Live questions are great. They keep participation sort of high and break the Zoom wall. We could do more like fireside chats versus sort of the panels, where fireside chat usually allow for a deeper conversation. You can also do lightning talks, which is sort of like very quick back-to-back sort of format. But in general, diversity in the format is important, particularly if you're organizing webinar series. People should expect something different, so they don't feel like it's going to be just like the previous webinar. The logistics in general is also key. I would think about time zones, when you're going to hit your audience at the best time zone. If you're doing it targeting policymakers, you got to make sure you're not doing it during the days off or after working hours, particularly if you have speakers from different time zones. So please, I think that's a major issue when it comes to organizing successful webinars. Same thing for your audience. If your audience is young people, then you don't do it when they have classes, for example. Avoid in general clashes with major conferences or holidays when everybody is going to be at the UNGA. I would recommend not doing a conference targeting people who are attending the UNGA. The same thing for WHA. I would always schedule prep calls, particularly for speakers who are unexperienced. If you feel a speaker is going to bring a powerful voice but is not really trained, I would allow for dry runs. I would really do tech checks in advance, make sure that the bandwidth supports the speaker's sort of capabilities. And then also, I think if you're going to run into those issues, or if you can predict there is a risk, so you create a risk-proof webinar by having a backup host, a backup moderator, I would try as much as you can to get the slides in advance, work on your speaker bios in advance. So ultimately you have a way to kind of like present them, introduce them, play their slides, and limit the issues that I might run into. I would always make sure you send those calendar holds. A lot of people tend to kind of like forget they signed up for a webinar till the date happens and they get their reminders. So also they include them in their calendar and they don't double book themselves. So that way you don't lose your audience. I think that pretty much summarizes everything we go through. I always build in space for feedback and ask people to kind of contact the hosts if they have any questions. So there is a way to do follow-ups, post-event surveys, thank you emails. They're always very helpful. I would also recommend if you can record your webinars. If you do a quick edit afterwards, you can repurpose content for social media or newsletter or your YouTube channel. But it's very important you do the editing and you don't put down raw materials right out there on the internet. And please make sure you get a release from the speakers that you can use the recording afterwards and be very specific on how you're going to use it. I think this is basically what we go through every time. There is no certainty that any webinar is going to be successful. Things always happen. The way you plan for risk is crucial. And then I think from there you learn, and then please don't be overwhelmed if anything doesn't go the way you plan it. It's bound to happen. It's only repetition that gets you to the best sort of design possible. So basically I'll stop here and I'm open to any questions. But also I think Balkiss can jump in as she also has a lot of experience doing these things.
Thanks so much, Zied. We really appreciate your insightful guiding on this topic. I see Pablo's hand up, so I'll give him the floor. Please go ahead, Pablo.
Thank you, Balkiss. Thank you, Dr. Zied. This has been really insightful. And just connecting some of the comments that some of the participants share as their expectations from the networking. And something also you comment when inviting or thinking about speakers for webinars that I think Balkiss does pretty well is that when we attend different events, especially in the global health field, we do identify many people that might be good speakers, or that regardless of their title, they might be really good for a specific topic. So I think like attending these kind of events, keep active, especially in the in-person events. It's really nice, this networking. And I think Balkiss has done this also in the past that has been successful as well for the Junior Doctors Network. But I will also recommend that to our members, that whenever you participate in this kind of events is also an opportunity for seeing in the future how to leverage more networks. For events is one way, then also we have the options of projects. So yeah, I'm also taking notes, as Muha was saying, for future events. Thank you so much. This was just a brief reflection.
Thank you so much, Pablo. Pablo is our chairperson, Zied, just for your awareness. So I don't see any hands risen. Please do participate. This is like an open platform for you guys to share your concerns and questions and hear from our expert guest. If not, we can move on to the next part of the webinar, which is how to engage successfully with the external stakeholders who might be our speakers. So building up on what Pablo just shared, this is the purpose of this section. So I wanted to bring in an interactive part and invite two volunteers from our participants to do kind of a pitch to someone they met, just like for the first time, and they think of him or of her as an interesting potential speaker in one of their webinars in JDN. And how would you approach him? It would be like just like 1 or 2 minutes elevator pitch, if any one of you would be keen to volunteer, and then we would discuss how the pitch went and anything we can do to make it better. If there's no volunteer, I can nominate. So it's better that it comes from you. I will nominate Eleleta. I was with Eleleta in the German Medical Association General Assembly last year, and we met many interesting guys and experts that can be potential speakers. So if you were to invite any one of them to one of your webinars in the primary healthcare working group, as you are co-chairing it, how would you approach him or her? Eleleta, you're with us?
I think she couldn't turn on the mic because before she couldn't introduce herself.
She's writing, she apologized because she's joining from the clinic. No worries, Eleleta. Maybe we can go to your co-chair, Adil. Adil, you were leading our pre-WHA workshop, and you were already in this position where you had to invite many people to animate our pre-WHA workshop. Can you give us a 1 or 2 minutes elevator pitch to how to invite one of the speakers you had during our pre-WHA workshop?
Yeah, for
One
sure.
of the people you didn't have connections before, so it's kind of a first approach, first
Yeah,
time
for sure.
approach.
Yeah, thank you so much. So Pablo and I remember we had to communicate with multiple people, especially from WHO, the session we were having about diplomacy and health. And we had to approach Dr. Margaret Harris, who is the global spokesperson for WHO. So one of the key trick is always when you are approaching a new person, you have to look at their profile. So go to Google, maybe look at their Twitter profile or LinkedIn profile. And if they are employed with multilateral organization, usually their CVs and there's some of the work would be available. So try to find a common ground, because at the end, it's about a human touch, it's about a human connection. When you try to find a common ground with other people and try to speak from that perspective, I think it makes a very unique interpersonal bond. And I think arranging a webinar or maybe some sort of an event where you are inviting a person you don't know and you want to talk to them in a very intimate setting, and especially in virtual setting when that human contact is much lost, you're not experiencing the human to human connection. But so that is the first step. And I think second, you need to make sure when you are typing the email, it's not too long. Or maybe if you're not, like, for example, if I want to invite someone, so I will write basic line, hello Dr. XX, I hope this email finds you well. And then I will introduce myself as, in 2 lines, not more than that, because nobody has that much time. So just go over, like, I am Adil Riaz. I am a physician from Pakistan. I'm currently serving as Social Medical Affairs Officer at JDN of the World Medical Association. That's it. Just move on to the next part. Why you are contacting them. It should not be more than 2 to 3 lines. I am contacting you to invite you as a potential speaker for our pre-Health Assembly or workshop that will happen on 17th, 18th May 2025 at Fernie Voltaire at the WMA headquarters. And the topic is this, and I think your particular experience would be more relevant for us, and our target audience is this, and this is how they will benefit from your experience. Looking forward to hear from you. That's it. It should not be more than 10 to 12 lines. So I think that's just the thing we followed. And Pablo, if you have anything to add, you can. And thank you so much.
Thanks, Adil. Pablo, please go ahead.
Yes, no, I think Adil was on point, and we actually try to apply many of these when inviting also speakers for the pre-WHA. And probably as important tip is be really clear about titles, especially for us being part of the junior doctors from the World Medical Association. We don't want to misname the titles that the different speakers might have. So that's always quite important to double check, because as you might know, like from country to country, it might be also different, like how if people prefer to be called by their name, by their last name, or the full with doctor and title. So that's always really important to be aware. And apart from this, also want to take some message that was mentioning Adil, that it's when contacting also these external speakers, or in general in person or even by email, it's really important also to start straightforward what you're looking for, in the sense like, if is this for organizing an event or so on, because if not, your request might be lost in all the introduction. So it's important to briefly mention who you are, but also early in your speech or early in your email also mention that you're looking for their support. Yeah, that would be a couple more thoughts.
Thank you, Pablo. On the screen, you can see, guys, that we have a sample of an invitation email to any potential speaker for your webinars. You can use the sample and tailor it to your thematic focus area of any webinar that you're working on now or in the future. But I would love to hear from Zied if you have any remarks on what Pablo and Adil, as well as on this sample of invitation email, or any other tips you may have for engaging external stakeholders as speakers.
Well, first, thank you, Pablo, for mentioning the in-person networking. I think that's a fantastic opportunity that you or some of you get to go to WHA or other global events and attend some of them. I think there is nothing better than the 2-3 minutes that you get after engaging with the speaker. You have an excuse to kind of engage and start the conversation, appreciate what they have said, or follow up on one of the talking points. So that's always a very good strategy. I would highly recommend sort of doing it and exchanging contact info, as you will have a direct touch point. Adding that person directly on LinkedIn afterwards is also a good step, so you can keep up with their engagement. Sometimes you find out they're going to be present in another town or another conference, and it's much easier to connect them with your local group in that country or region. I'm very happy that you have those example of like invitation emails. I would highly recommend you use that as the base to kind of like personalize the invitation. You can always refer to your engagement or to the fact that you know someone who knows that person, or that last article they wrote that you really appreciated. Any reference that can personalize the example of the invitation email, I think that will bring in higher engagement. But having a solid base makes your job easier. Adding a couple of personal details, even that you can glean them from their Twitter account right before sending a sample email, I think that could increase your response rate. So I'll stop here, Balkiss, but those are all excellent ideas, and thank you guys for your input.
Thank you so much, Zied. If there's any comments or questions, please go ahead. I saw Venkatesh, our publication director, mentioning a short introduction of what WMA and JDN are in the email. I think this is a great flag, and it shouldn't be a long one. A short one would be enough, and we can include the link to the website. and it can be just after like the ask, because people have a very short attention span. So like from the start, the first lines, you need to put down there what you are asking from this person, especially if it's the first time you're approaching him or her. I think we covered this part very well. The next part would be about how to keep the engagement post-webinar and how to leverage whatever that has been like the outputs of the webinar in our future activities, so that it's not just a one moment or 1 hour thing and then we forgot all about it, and how we can link it to our activities within JDN. Any ideas or examples of what you have done before in this sense? Because I can see here there are many working groups, co-chairs like Leleta, Adil, Benkatesh. I also see Leka. Maybe Leka, you can tell us about one example, and then we can open the floor for more participants.
Hi, I'm sorry I cannot open my camera right now.
It's okay.
So what we've done before is that immediately after organizing a webinar, we'd reach out to external speakers and really thank them for their time because they're doing this because they want to speak to us, to speak to junior doctors and inspire them. So we always express that we're incredibly grateful that you could make this time to, come and speak to us. And then we usually, I think what we've done before is ask one or two follow-up questions that the audience may have had, but we did not have enough time in the webinar to address these questions. And many times they would come back with answers or solutions or other potential ideas. And that would keep the conversation going as well and ensure a continued relationship with the speaker as well, so that even after your term ends or even after the webinar is done, we could any successors or other holders of the office would be able to, reach out to them and say, hey, this is me from WMA JDN, and I know you spoke to us 2 years back or 4 years back. Would you consider coming back? Yeah, so these are some things we've done before. I hope that addresses your question, Balkiss.
Thanks, Leka. I just wanted to hear from like a real example of what someone who has done it, and so that we can have comments from the participants on that, if anything else can be done as well. So thank you so much, Leka, and the floor is yours, everybody. Please do share your thoughts on what she said. I can read a comment on the chat. So they're saying, no, this is not relevant. Zied, do you have any comments on what Leka mentioned?
I think it's very interesting to kind of see how you basically have developed this strategy in approaching people. I think in general that definitely has sort of like a really good feel in terms of like the way it can lead to meaningful relationships and engagement with stakeholders. So yeah, I would strongly support it.
Great, thank you so much. Any questions, guys? I keep asking for that and nobody has questions. So please go ahead. We have just 4 minutes left. I would love to hear from you. I think Adil is sharing the last part of our guideline where we talk about post-webinar engagements. And this doesn't only include how we engage with the external speakers that we had, but also how we collect participants' feedback to ensure better quality and better format and engagement from our own members, because most of our webinars are distant to our own members yet. It's part of practically our main audience is junior doctors themselves for purposes of education or raising awareness or bringing in experts, and then they would educate the rest of the members about certain topics. We are issue-focused organization. The different issues, for example, primary health care. We have a newly created working group on NCDs to focus our advocacy efforts towards the UN high-level meeting on that. Benket is the co-chairs and Muha, also the other co-chair, are both here. So maybe Benketesh and Muha, you can tell us on like efforts you are working on in that sense, and if you are considering any webinars and how this session would have been helpful to implement your agenda.
Thank you, Dr. Balkiss. So we are just starting our working group, and we have initially planned to conduct a few webinars around the health days, like the breast cancer awareness month and related health days. So we are to begin with, we are planning to target only junior doctors, and later we may consider expanding it to the general public as well. And with regards to junior doctors also, we are having an idea that we should not limit it to just generation of awareness. Rather, it should be a starting point where we are trying to do something tangible. For example, we are trying to create a kind of sensitization through the webinar, and the end point of the webinar is not just the finishing of the webinar, rather to take it forward in terms of proposing a new project or proposing a new publication, which will help in further extending our contribution to the topic. For example, if we are starting a breast cancer awareness webinar, and we would like to extend it further, and to identify those young doctors who are aware, who are interested in the topic of breast cancer, and then with their help we may explore the possibilities of doing some studies around the breast cancer awareness among young doctors. Like that, we would like to extend it beyond awareness generation. We want to do something which is actionable and which provides tangible output. We are yet to discuss further on this. In the upcoming weeks, we will get more clarity about how to utilize webinar as a great platform for young doctors engagement.
Thank you so much, Venkatesh. This is at the same time an invitation to all of you who might be interested in joining those efforts around NCDs to join the new working group. I think we're on time. If there's any last comments or questions, please go ahead. Otherwise, I would love to thank you all for being here. It's been great to have different faces and the great geographical representation. Also, thank you so much, Zied. We really appreciate your time and your input, and we certainly have you again for other workshops. Thank you, everybody. I see no further questions, only appreciations. Thank you so much as well. I'm grateful to have you here, and please do reach out to me, to Pablo, to anyone on the management team if you have any questions regarding webinar organization. And we're looking forward to all your impactful participation and great projects ahead. Thank you so much. Take care. See you in the next workshop.